Hey guys, Justin here. We are here for the extended version with Mike from Rubicon and the world famous Simply Bare Organics line. We're going to talk all things, cannabis, organic growing, Mike's journey into the industry, a bit of my journey, and just kind of see where she goes. So great to have you on, man. Appreciate you coming by.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here. I'm excited to chat with you. Like you said, we keep on running into each other at the barber, at Brothers Barbers, and we never get the chance to just sit down and have a chat, especially with COVID and what the situation's going on.
Yeah, exactly. So it's awesome to have you in. I think I met you a few times randomly at Brothers Barbershop, and then I think we met also at like ICBC or something like that, right? But again, it's always in those environments. It's a quick hit. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. And then kind of quick chat, and that's it. I mean, this will be the longest that we've ever kind of sat down and chatted.
That's right.
And we're doing it all for you. Yeah. So what's before we get into what you got going on there, why don't you let our viewers know kind of what your journey you're from South Africa, right? When did you come to Canada?
So originally landed in 2001 with the whole family, moved to Vancouver right away, set up shop there. Basically spent 17 years until 2017, 2018 until we moved to the island. Got to the island and immediately got in touch with a group in the News Bay that was starting up a licensed producer certification, but we're transitioning from an ACMPR Part 2 license. So we had 3 growers with about 150 plants each, and we were trying to do this transition. I worked as the head project manager there, dealing with Health Canada, dealing with CCI, a bunch of consultants, and trying to build out all the infrastructure and get everything organized.
And that's what we do, right? Is helping legacy growers transition into the regulated market. And as you know, and you project manager, you know how tough it is, and it's tough to kind of get the folks that grow into that regulated mindset. When you've just grown, like they were growing. I'm sure they didn't have SOPs there, did they?
No SOPs. Simple version of that story is it went bankrupt after a year of trying with not very much to show for it. A lot of disappointed early investors, and then once that kind of went bankrupt. Just before it actually went belly up, I got an offer from Aurora Cannabis to be part of their sales team here on Vancouver Island, and that's kind of when I transitioned into that more corporate cannabis positioning, and spent roughly 2 years with them from before legalization all the way through to about the end of 2020.
And how was working for Aurora compared to working for Rubicon?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a
I'm not trying to
difference.
Slag off Aurora or anything like that, right?
Absolutely.
But what was because Aurora is one of the corporate big boys, really. In the industry. If there's a big 3, Aurora's in that discussion, right?
For sure.
So what's the big differences you find in working with Rubicon versus Aurora?
With Rubicon, we have direct access to the head growers, to the head of cannabis. We know exactly what's going on at all times in that whole production cycle. We also have a really great input feed from the sales personnel in the field to the cannabis producers, to our product development team. So we can tell them exactly what people are looking for, exactly what they're saying about our products, and if there's any negative input, we can address that right away.
That's awesome. Yeah, somebody who I spoke to compared organizations like Rubicon versus the Canopies, Auroras, Afrias of the world. Is those companies have positioned themselves like a steamship, and it's very difficult for a steamship to make a quick pivot, right?
Absolutely.
Whereas somebody like a Rubicon, you're in the field every day. You got the direct connection with the grow team. Yeah. You can be like, hey, this. Not that this would ever happen with the apple toffee, but you could, in theory, you could be like, hey. People are saying they're not really feeling the apple toffee these days. Let's pivot out and you make that, your last run of apple toffee or whatever, right? Because as we know, strains right now are having like a 1 year, 18-month shelf life really, and not in terms of their their shelf stability
Yeah.
in terms of the consumer demand. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we call it strain fatigue. And basically, people try it for a few times, they get used to it, they almost top out on it and don't feel those effects as much anymore. And then they want to try something new. And and in the industry right now, there's just so much new stuff happening every single day and so many amazing products that are coming out. I'm really excited what's going on in the craft world, honestly.
Oh, yeah, me too, man.
The quality is just outstanding. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and Simply Bare, I mean, obviously, like I can't say it enough that how huge a fan I am of the whole line. I'm actually gonna, grow a very similar methodology out there. Not like I'm a grower or anything. We all know that. Okay, so I don't need to see 50 million comments down here or even one about you don't know what you're doing because I don't. Right? Yeah. I'm really like excited. I'm gonna bring in a top-notch master grower, and I'm excited to learn and go down the cultivation journey and try to grow organic. Quads in a greenhouse, light depth, some obviously supplemented lights. Yeah. So for the viewers out there, can you explain to them kind of what a Rubicon greenhouse looks like?
For sure, yeah. It's just a really standard a gutter connect glass greenhouse that's been transformed from I would say like a normal agricultural product like tomatoes or anything into a specialized grow environment for cannabis plants. We've sectioned off little rooms. So our rooms are around about 5,000 to 7,000 square feet. Yeah. Really nice and controllable. We've got a 10,000 square foot grow facility. Now that doesn't mean that whole 10,000 square feet is actually being used for canopy, but 70 to 80,000 of that is actually being used for grow canopy. Nice. And the rest is for production and
And you guys are processing. Where's the facility located?
Located in Delta, BC.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So nice and local, BC bud.
Yeah.
And so we've got our greenhouse, we've got LED supplemental lighting, we've got light deprivation. Yeah. Everything is living soil. Living soil just means a soil that's full of microbial, mycorrhizae activity, and we don't put any kind of extra nutrients in there.
That's awesome, man.
That just means we don't flush the plants, which people, they kind of cringe at when they first
But you don't
hear
need
that.
you don't need to.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
They haven't been juiced up with anything.
Right.
They just take whatever they want.
Yeah.
And we've got this amazing blend of soil that is proprietary and built by one of our soil scientists, and it is phenomenal.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. And now you guys are going to get into the solventless processing game too.
That's right.
That's exciting, right?
Yeah, we've got our head of cannabis, Mickey Ramberg, and he's been doing this for a decade on the black market.
Nice.
Won some awards. He's doing a phenomenal job. He's made some of our hash. We've got our apple toffee. We've got our sour cookies. We've got our SFV in Ontario. Yeah. The hash is really doing well.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And then why don't you tell everybody what the cool stuff you brought in for us to take a look at today?
Yeah. Today we've got some Lab Theory here. Lab Theory is one of our solvent extraction labels. And today we've got our Banana OG diamonds, and we've got our Sour Secret Strawberry Caviars.
Nice.
These are premium extracts. Yeah. And we're actually going to be relaunching this brand, bringing in new pricing, bringing in new strains. We've gone with a different extractor this time. We were with Greenline before, and now we've moved over to Valence. We just feel like they can really give us the quality that us and our customers are looking for.
Perfect. Yeah, Valence is for anybody that doesn't know out there, they're based out of Kelowna, BC. They are a fully vertically integrated operation, which is really cool. They've done some amazing things out there. Definitely one of the I don't want to call them small because they're not small, are they? Right? No. But they are one of the small, or they're not in the same league as. It's nice to see actually you guys working with them because it's kind of too similar, kind of mid-level, kind of. You're not like a micro, but you're also not like one of the big, huge, canopies of the world.
We're still considered a craft company. So like in Ontario where they've got this craft division, or specification.
Yeah.
We fall into that just based on all the way we do things. The smaller grow, hand packaging, hand trimming, all that kind of specialty, time-consuming stuff that really adds value to the product.
Yeah, and then you've got some topicals here, and that's an American brand, right?
Yeah, so this is originally from the States.
Yeah.
Wildflower is our topical brand. It's just all natural ingredients. It's pure hemp-based CBD.
Yeah.
So little to absolutely no THC. And yeah, just amazing ingredients that everyone can pronounce. Shea butters, hemp oils.
Stuff they're familiar with in other lines, right?
Exactly.
I think that's, for me, like the way I look at processing moving forward especially for the smaller scale processors, right? Like bringing in American relationships with license holders from the American market is a really solid strategy. I mean, Bang has done it with Indiva, right?
That's right.
I mean, they're the leader in the chocolate line for sure,
Yeah.
right? And then I think it's a good model because guess what? Advertising, for those of you that don't know at home, advertising in the cannabis space is brutal. It's
pretty much
brutally
non-existent.
difficult. Right.
Yeah.
Like you got to do stuff like this to kind of, because we're just chatting here, right? Like, just for the record, Mike has paid me no money to be on this show, okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, like so you look at Bang. I see what you're doing with Wildflower. I'm working with a very small microprocessor out in Souk, and we're going to kind of follow the same kind of pathway of bringing in some brands in the States, because guess what? Down there, social media knows no borders, right?
Yeah,
and they can do things down there that we can't do up here. But people can still recognize that brand, right? They can go, oh, I saw that Wildflower on Insta, right? Now I can go in and, I mean, I know you can do stuff in the Canadian market, but it is, as we know, it's way more difficult.
Absolutely, yeah. I know Wana, all those kind of companies. Cookies down in the States is really big. Actually, before legalization, we actually had a warehouse down there that we were doing white labeling for cookies.
Oh, awesome.
So we were growing all their weed for a time. And then when legalization happened, we had to sell all of our assets down there and move everything Canadian side. So, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So for our viewers at home, I'm jumping around a little bit here, right?
Sure.
But a lot of people probably don't know what a diamond is, which is one of the extracts that Mike brought in today, or what caviar is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like these are the highest of the highest quality of extracts. And so maybe, Mike, you can give us a quick explanation of what each of those products actually is.
For sure. So, I mean, diamond is kind of what it sounds like. It's a really hard crystalline product, similar to, I don't know, rock candy or anything like that. Basically, it's a THCA version with very limited terpenes in there. So it's very high in THC. I mean, this one is clocking in at 85% THC. Now, the caviars are more of a terpy slushy, a little bit more of a textured feel to it, almost like a brown sugar mixed with some honey, consistency. More flavorful.
Yeah.
I kind of like that a little bit better, just because I like that flavorful experience. I like the terpenes, how that acts on my endocannabinoid system. But all of it's actually produced kind of similarly. It just depends on how long you dry it in the vacuum ovens for. The longer you dry it, the more it turns into this hard crystalline substance. So,
right.
Yeah.
And then how would somebody consume that?
So for me, I've got a little vaporizer that I just dab it into my vaporizer. It's like a little pen.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the hardcore dabbers will have their rigs. They'll have their blowtorch. They might even have their little infrared reader that tells them how hot their banger is. Usually dipping that into a quartz banger. So and then we've got some of the new stuff like the Puffco Peaks and that kind of those devices that make everything so much easier with battery, and you don't need the big blowtorch.
Yeah, nice.
You don't want to burn your face off or anything.
Nice. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you even look at somebody like myself. I've been in the industry for, I'm going to date myself here, but well over 30 years, right, in the legacy space and now into this space, and I've never consumed either of those products.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, like for me, it's just too intense.
Yeah.
Like I've done the shatter quite a few times, and I'm just like, I'll just pass out after.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You know? I like it very like low and slow. Roll
I
with
like the
pen.
mellow experience, not the like bang, go home.
Yeah. Those, because I literally, like, one time I did some shatter, and I came home. I did it at my neighbor's house, and I came home and I sat down and I started watching TV, and I fell asleep sitting up with the remote in my hand. And my wife was like, "What the fuck? What's the matter with you?" And I was like, I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah. You don't want to know what I just went through.
Yeah. And you don't green out because you just pass out.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know at Simply Bare, we're really working hard to get all our terpenes onto our packaging. We want to get a harvest date onto our packaging. But I think there's a lot of misconceptions around what it takes to get a product to market, especially a new product.
Yeah.
You've got to go through Health Canada. You've got to register the new product. You've got to put the NNCP in.
Yeah, so you got to do that 60 days out.
That takes 60 days.
Yeah.
So you really need to know what you're doing. And that works well for people who are growing.
Right.
But if you're buying wholesale and you see something come on market and you would love to pick up that ice cream cake at 32% THC, now all of a sudden that person that's purchasing that has to register that 60-day new product.
Right.
And that's where the whole chain kind of breaks down, because now you can't get a fresh product to market in a speedy way. So
and then just like we were talking about that, that ability to pivot, right? Well, now it's taken you 16 weeks to get that product cured properly and everything the way you want it to be. You've got another 60 days out. Especially if you pick up something on on somebody else's product, right? So then you're looking at, that product's been kind of, it may be already in the fatigue.
Exactly.
Right? So I mean, it's very, very challenging, and I hope, man, that they figure this out, that it doesn't have to be this way. I like what Ontario just announced yesterday or the day before, that they are now going to allow the stores to make direct requests.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that came out. Yeah, that article was out yesterday, and so that means that if I own a store in Windsor, Ontario, I can call up the OCS and say, "Hey, I need Simply Bare pre-rolls. I need this much. Send it to me." And even if it's not in the OCS, they will get it and put it in there.
That's really cool that they're actually taking input from anyone right now. So I mean, especially the retailers who know exactly what their customers want.
Yeah.
So
I personally think if the provincial boards could just get out of it, that would be nice.
It would be fantastic, but I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it, because I see what's happening in Manitoba, Saskatchewan. There's some really high prices over there. There's not that same bargaining weight. But,
I think that shouldn't be that way either, because the Saskatchewan guys is direct to retail, right?
Exactly.
So there isn't that markup. It should not be that way.
Yeah.
Right. What it should you're right. So you're right. If those prices are not. Maybe I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe they do need to be there.
I know we deal with NCD, who's a distributor in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Just because it for us to do direct to retailer just for that small group, would take a whole team, and that whole team wouldn't pay itself in doing that. So we do use a distributor in Saskatchewan, and Saskatchewan is also different because NCD is run by another retailer, I believe. I'm not exactly sure who, but at this time anyway. But so there's a certain amount of those Saskatchewan stores that just will not order from NCD, and there's Weed Pool there that's doing a really good job too.
Yeah.
Brett Wells is actually a good friend of mine from Aurora days, and he's the CEO there. So. Weed Pool's doing a great job, but direct to retail doesn't work for that small amount of retailers right now.
Yeah. So maybe something's got to give, right?
Yeah. But I would really appreciate it if there was an issue with our product or anyone's product from an LP standpoint, if the customer could come straight to us and say, "Hey, listen, Simply Bare, I had an issue here. Can you help me with it?" And we can say, "Absolutely. Here you go. Here's the resolution."
Right.
Boom.
Of course.
But right now, the way it is, the customer cannot come to us because of Health Canada.
Right.
If they come to us, we've got to point them back to the retailer.
And then the retailer's got to come to you and say, "Hey, I need this, I need a refund or whatever I need for that. I guess it becomes a product recall or some sort of an escalated QA situation, right?
Yeah, it goes back to the retailer. The retailer has to go back to the BCLDB at this point in BC, and then the BCLDB's got to come back to us.
Right.
So by the time we hear about it, it could be months, and that customer could have been so pissed off about their journey.
Right.
And, that's not what anyone wants.
No. They've got to fix, and they've got to fix a lot of stuff, right? Like right from what's going on with the ACMPR program to all these online websites and as much as, we've supported that and we still help, people out with their personal production situations and but the fact is, I mean, this is what's putting a strain on the regulated market. I mean, there's so many things that we could do much better, right? To make it better for everybody, not only the consumer price wise, consumer quality assurance wise, for the the people that put the money behind this stuff, because like somebody was saying to me the other day, how the fuck do you go bankrupt growing weed? Right? Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, I mean, the cost structure is so crazy. I mean, I just think if you take the cost to produce and sell on a wholesale side, let's just say it's an average of $3. By the time that goes through all these different chains and lands at the consumer's table, they're now paying $30 for that. So $30 to $35, depending on what the weed is, obviously. So that just shows you all these different taxation points, all these distribution points, all these.
Everybody's got their hand out, right? And just like when you're in the old legacy world trying to make a deal, right? The more middlemen you had in on any deal, that price went up to that end consumer, right? That's just the way it is. I mean, that's just business. So I think obviously the government wants their slice of the pie, but if we could find a way to make it so that there's not like 20 slices of the pie going out, I think that would reduce the price to the consumer, and also then make you more competitive with those legacy sites, which are still, they're not going to go anywhere for a couple of years here, right?
No.
And unfortunately, there's real money invested in people's success in the regulated space, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, those people that are growing on the legacy side there, they brought us to where we are, right? And I totally respect that, but I also know we have to protect the regulated space too, because they're being really hard hit by these legacy markets for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very fine line that we've got to walk, because I mean, obviously, that's where I came from, and that's why I got in this business, was to help those legacy people out. Like, that's the only, like, literally the only reason I'm sitting here right now, right, is because I have a deep connection to those people, and I want nothing more than to see them get into a healthy situation in the regulated market, because ultimately, whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever that is going to that market is going to shrink, and it's going to the pressure on them is going to increase dramatically. So hopefully, some of the regulatory stuff from a craft cultivator's perspective, like even myself, like, look, I can't put I'm on an ALR. I can't put concrete down, right? I really have to go. I had to go greenhouse, really. I mean, I really didn't have much of a choice because I bought bare land, right? So, man.
I know from what I'm seeing in the market right now, and I speak to a lot of micros, I speak to a lot of licensed producers that are just small scale, that are growing right now, and if you look at what's happening with the micros, I think there's 200 micros across Canada right now, or plus or minus, and only 2 or 3 of them have their sales amendments. So they literally cannot sell their weed to a government body. They don't even have the option to excise stamp anything. So these people need an outlet. They need to be able to generate revenue.
They have to fix that sales amendment process. It's too long. It's taking too long. And like, I don't understand why is it taking this long? Like, what have you, like, obviously, okay, so you do your 2-batch amendment. Right? Like, you submit all your documentation. There should be a team of people going, okay, this looks good. Okay, boom, sales amendment done, right? Like, how hard is this? I don't I don't know why this is taking 6 months sometimes, man.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of people really suffer, and I'm already in contact with people that are suffering and that are looking for outlets any way they can to try and get their product out and get some revenue to actually cash flow all this investment they put in. Because even with a small micro, you have to put in close to $1 million by the end of the day.
Man. So. Even on my setup, which I'm going to do and I'm very blessed to be well connected in the space and stuff, but I'm doing a greenhouse, right? So it's much cheaper to kind of get going, right?
Yeah.
But I'm still going to be into this thing for $300,000, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that takes a lot of weed to pay back, you know,
man.
especially after the running costs are considered. So, there has to be a better way for these micros and smaller LPs to get to the government bodies.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. Yeah, man. Yeah. So what else is exciting? What's going on? Like so you're on the island here, right?
Yeah. I'm on Vancouver Island. I live in Parksville. I commute all over the island. I speak to 80 different retailers all across the island on a bi-weekly basis, you know, like I've got a nice rotating schedule. I'm popping to all the stores. I say hi. I see how my brands are doing, what other brands are doing well, all the competitive pressures that we're facing.
What's exciting you with some other brands right now? What's if you were going to buy something that wasn't Simply Bare, what would you be buying today?
That's a good question. I think Organic Craft, their cherry punch is spectacular. Like I really enjoy that. The Lot 40 Gelato 33 was amazing. Great price point too. What else am I thinking? The Black Cherry Punch by Flower was really good. I haven't had any good pink cushion in a long time.
We're working with some. We're working to get the actual original Pink Kush guys licensed. We actually just started their licensing program just the other day.
Hey?
Yeah. I don't want to say too much, but the real Pink Kush will be back. I'd say probably 6 months out, something like that.
Awesome. Well, we in our greenhouse right now, I'm not too sure how much I can say about this, but we've got some Uncle Bob's Pink Kush growing from Duncan that we've sourced there.
Yeah.
We've got the Uncle Bob Pink Kush, and we've got another strain of Pink Kush. It's eluding my mind right now.
I think
Captain's Pink.
The Captain's Pink.
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go. Right, the Captain's Pink. The Captain's Pink's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah. We've got a nice Romulan. That's the same place we sourced from the island here.
And these are all brands. So these are all things that were popular 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think you know what? I think there's going to be a little bit of nostalgia as well. Right. So you get the fatigue. I think this is really going to be pretty cool. You get the fatigue. And then you go through, the black cherry punches, which it seems to be, the wedding cake and all these kind of flavors of today.
Yeah.
And then you're going to see that, oh, wait a minute, Simply Bare's got a Pink Kush?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to check this out, right? And then they'll fall in love with it again.
For sure.
And then they'll fall out of love with it again. And they'll fall, I think you're going to see that kind of circling back as well, right?
Yeah.
Because people, like, I got a buddy of mine, he loves the Romulan, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
That's cool, man.
Those strains, like the Romulan, the Violator that we haven't even seen yet on the market is another one.
Yeah.
Pineapple Express. I can't believe we haven't seen a Pineapple Express or a Love Potion.
Yeah.
Like, these are the strains that are really old school, and people like have loved them for many years. So.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing. Well, the other cool thing about people's being able to transition legacy people in is they get that one-time declaration, which is huge, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like I'd love to be working with you as well as getting. If I have a crew that has like really good strains, maybe kind of work out some deals and stuff like that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, I know we're always looking for new strains. We're always looking to get people from the legacy market, black market, involved with us, because we do have ways of, we know people that are coming to license, and they've got that little window like you were saying.
Yeah.
So there's ways of bringing people in through those licenses.
Has Rubicon ever thought about I know I'm starting to see some, especially with a lot of big facilities out there. I had a really big meeting with the group on Saturday that had this, and I can't really disclose too much, but it's a massive facility.
Yeah.
And I just literally said to them, I said, well, why don't you embrace the craft industry?
Yeah.
Take your massive facility, cut it down,
Yep.
and just pop in craft people in there.
Absolutely.
And don't charge them an arm and a leg. Like, don't charge them anything to get in. Just charge them a healthy rent to work under your license and produce what you need them to produce for you.
Yeah. I mean, we were sitting around smoking some joints up in Comox one day, and we were shooting the shit about this, and we were thinking, what would be really cool is you get like Snoop Dogg, or you get someone from the States, and you fly them in, you put them up for like a month or 3 months while this one batch is cultivating,
right?
And you get these rock stars growing your weed for you, basically.
Yeah.
And when you put this out, you've got this name that you're gonna. I guess you can't with the advertising, maybe.
I wonder what. Okay, so let's. I mean, this is the conversation about where is that line. So if you brought Snoop Dogg up and you hired Snoop Dogg as your assistant master grower at a facility, right? Could you not interview Snoop Dogg and ask him about his job as an assistant master grower.
Yeah.
He's not actually endorsing what he's doing. He's literally speaking about the work he's doing and how cool that is, or whatever, right? Like there might be crossing the line?
There might be work visa things that might play into that. But
fair enough. But I mean, maybe
I think it would be totally legit, honestly. And I mean, it would be good to push the boundaries and see where those lines are.
Right, because that is not he's not directly endorsing the project, right?
Yeah.
Right.
He's talking about his weed that he's growing.
He's talking about weed he's growing for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just talking about growing weed.
Yeah.
He's not talking about like he's not saying, I wonder, the funny thing is, like a Canadian icons, like imagine if you got, say, Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know I can't remember which company tried to put the Trailer Park Boys weed on there and that got kiboshed, right?
Yeah.
But pushing it at a different angle and saying, like, I know some growers out in Nova Scotia, right? Like, I don't know where he's actually based out of, Toronto probably, right? But if you brought him into a facility and said, hey, Ricky, you are whatever his real name is. I'll call him Ricky for now. If you said, hey, you are going to be the assistant master grower. Yeah. Nothing more, nothing less, right? And once a month you're going to come on on a podcast like this, which is me and you just talking right now. Yeah. So you're nothing different than me talking to Ricky about being an assistant master grower.
Exactly.
Right? Like that'd be very interesting to do, man.
Yeah, it would. But I like your idea about just breaking down a massive grower into these little rooms and just giving them out, just renting these rooms out.
Yeah, like Canopy's got these massive facilities that are no good. Okay, you've learned the lesson.
Yeah.
You cannot grow in these big, huge things.
Yeah.
So take a lesson from that. And you know what? I don't even need to get paid on this idea, right? Yeah. Just do it for the industry. Do it for yourselves. Like you can make a very fair cap rate from a real estate perspective. Like I've done the market cap calculations. Right. Like you can make a 15 to 17% market cap, which is insane, right? From a real estate perspective. And then you've got real legacy growers cultivating in small 3,000 square foot little areas, right?
And if you had rockstar growers that you can market that rockstar grower around that grow that they're doing.
Yeah, man.
I think there would be a match made in heaven, honestly.
Yeah. Somebody's got to jump on this for the good of everybody.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
You've already built these facilities; they're sitting there wasting. They're just eating away at revenue, right? Yep. So man.
I think the complexity of splitting these things up might be what's getting in the way.
It's not really that complex.
I just know, like,
you come in, you sign an operating agreement, right? And they come in and they operate under an operating agreement, agree to a certain fee for the operating agreement, and away you go.
Yeah. I know for the Aurora side with their massive facilities on Edmonton Airport there, they've got all these big cranes that are moving tables around and stuff like that. Yeah. And so,
but that's a greenhouse, right?
That's a greenhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. So those massive greenhouses, that's another story altogether. Like greenhouse growing, for those that don't know at home, and I barely know, right, is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Dealing with the PM, mold, humidity levels, like it is extremely challenging. Doing it at 1 million square feet of it, forget about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know how they would fix that problem there. I wouldn't set foot in a facility like that.
Yeah. I know. I remember Aurora having big problems with that when I was with them, and they had to bring some specialized people in. It cost a hell of a lot of money. They had to throw away full rooms, and each room's got like 30,000 plants in it,
Right.
So massive amounts of money.
Right. Yeah. And the cost of production in greenhouse growing is obviously quite a bit lower, right? But they also, it's risky because for every Simply Bare out there, there's $2 gram guys.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
absolutely.
And you're happy at $2. Actually, in fairness, I've heard rough numbers of greenhouse cultivation, probably not to the level of a Simply Bare, but 40 to 60 cents a gram of like actual hard cost of production. So I mean, if you're getting
that's the small part though. The cultivation part is the cheap part.
Right.
The cost of selling.
Right.
That's the expensive part.
Right.
Now that's like the $1 to $2. So
right.
Yeah.
But I think from a cultivator, from my own personal perspective, like I'm gonna do this, right?
Yeah.
So like if you said to me, okay, Justin, you're gonna produce decent quality cannabis, right? Like stuff that you'll be able to get rid of, if you will, right? And you're gonna get $1.60 a gram.
Yeah.
And I'm into it for 40 cents a gram.
Yeah.
I don't care what business you're in. You
For
may not
sure.
be making the millions, right? Because
For
I'm
sure.
probably only going to cultivate, I know my plan right now is to only cultivate from, like April to November, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Where I take, 3/4 of cultivation.
For sure.
Take 3 months off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And not fight that cold and not fight that. Right. So,
For sure.
so if I can do, let's just say I can do 400 kilos a year out of there. Right. And that's probably maybe a little bit ambitious, but let's just say for argument's sake, I can. And I can make a profit of even $1 a kilo.
Yeah.
I've done all right. Right.
Yeah.
400K is good, not bad money. Right. And even
Yeah.
if it was only 300K, even if I only did 300.
For sure.
Still not bad money for
Yeah.
living like a school teacher.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I mean, I think that's an idealistic way of looking at it. There's so many, and if you're growing really good weed and you've built this reputation and you've got all the things that people are looking for, especially if you're going to try and sell B2B instead of sell B2C,
right?
Then you'll do well. But right now, what I'm seeing is if you're not growing over 22%, people aren't really even looking at you.
Well, that's just and I that's a bunch of bullshit.
It is a bunch of bullshit because again, we could go into testing and you can go shopping for the best testing agency and give you whatever percentage you want. I mean,
right.
Look at Tweed and those guys with their 21%, and it's been 21% for the last year.
Right.
So that static labeling.
And the other part of the bullshit part of it is that some of the best cannabis I've ever smoked is 18, 19%. That Tantalus Labs had some really nice stuff out for a while there, and it was some of it was. I don't even know if it was 18. It was probably 16, 17.
Yeah.
And for not a person that's looking to get like wrecked out of my mind, right? Like I'm just looking to enjoy my life a little more, right?
Absolutely, and that's the real shame, honestly, is that because there's only two real data points that customers look at, and that's the price and the THC, and that's pretty much all they've been given up until this point.
Right.
It's a shame because there's so many great strains out there, so much great weed.
Terpene profiles, like it's just so underrated, man.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I get just as high off a 16% as I do of a 22%. Maybe I smoke 2 more puffs on a 16,
Right.
But, yeah.
Wow. Heaven forbid.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So before we take off, tell our viewers where we can find Simply Bear on social media.
So we're on pretty much all the social media platforms. Simply Bear Organics is our Instagram handle. And mine is Bear Island Mike on Instagram. So I just kind of
follow Mike's shenanigans up and down the island.
Exactly.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's been great having you on, bro.
Absolutely.
And don't be a stranger. When you're going down through Cloud9, stop by and say hi and pop in and see the gang here, man. So awesome. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks, Justin.
And we'll see you guys all next week.